Okay, we're going to roll right into our post race for today's 40th annual GoBowling.com 400 NASCAR Sprint Cup Series race here at Pocono Raceway. Our race runner-up is Jeff Gordon.
Could you fix that last caution for me?
I tell you, Jeff, his runner-up is Jeff Gordon. He drove the number 24, drive-in Hunger Chevrolet, and certainly, Jeff, as you alluded to here right now, you had that race in your grasp there. That last caution came out, and certainly it was tough to overcome the 5-car. He had a great run on you there.
Yeah, he was super fast all day. I mean, those guys, they deserved and earned that win today. You know, we had them though. We certainly had the position. We got a good restart, and yeah, I'm pretty disappointed that you know, I allowed them to get to the outside of me down in 1, and you know, that's the advantage that you have of being second. Just like the restart before that, you know, I had a little bit of an advantage by being in second to get position on him, and you know, I thought that last one that I did everything I needed to do, and I looked in my mirror and I really thought that the inside lane got a good run on Casey. So I thought, you know, all I need to do is get in here and get the bottom and I'll be good. But man, he got a killer run and blasted up on the outside of me, and it caught me by surprise, I'll be honest. And in that case, in that scenario, it just kills your momentum. So I feel fortunate to finish second. I feel like we had a great day, all in all, and you know, very proud of that, and something we can build a lot of momentum on. And yeah, I'm frustrated right now because we had a shot at it, and we know how important wins are. But second is a great points day for us as well.
9th in points right now, Jeff. We'll take questions for Jeff Gordon. If you have one, raise your hand. We'll get to the mic. I think there's one in the press box. Go ahead, press box, if you can.
Reed Spencer with NASCAR Wire Service. Jeff, you alluded to this, but as we saw in the truck race yesterday and to a large extent today, being the leader on the restart didn't seem to be an advantage. Could you just comment on that a little bit?
Yeah, you know, the bigger the rear spoilers get on the vehicles, cars, trucks, the bigger, you know, hole you're punching in the air, and the easier it is for guys to get runs either behind you or you know, stall you on the outside. But that wasn't necessarily the case today for me in that last restart. I got a good restart. I think I caught him off guard. I took off a little early maybe. It was questionable, but yet I got up in front of him and did what I felt like I needed to do, you know, but obviously that wasn't the case. So yeah, once he got to the outside of me, then that same you know, scenario and aerodynamics really stalled the car out and put me in a bad position going into the tunnel turn, and I really just kind of had to give it up at that point. You know, the caution before that, I was able to get the run and be the car that was in a better position, and you know, he did a great job. I mean, that's all you can say.
Come downstairs. Go ahead, Nate.
Nate Ryan, USA Dave.
Kurt Busch, come on up here and have some fun with me, man. Come on, your name's
Kurt
right
Busch,
here.
the birthday boys.
Your name, yeah, absolutely. Let's celebrate.
That's right. Happy birthday. Go ahead, Nate, and then we'll hear from Kurt.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Nate Ryan, USA Day Sports. For Jeff, kind of following up on what Reed was asking. Casey chose the outside on the restart prior to that, and I think most guys were choosing the outside all day long. Was that just not even a consideration for you, though, because you had taken the lead by being on the inside, and choosing the outside wasn't even given?
I was terrible on the outside all day. The outside is good if you have the run on the exit, but I was having so much trouble getting in the corner on the outside that I was more afraid of you know, losing it that way. My goal was to get a good restarting, have the lane to myself, which I did. You know, now looking back on it, I probably would have rather put him on the inside. If I'd known I was going to get that good of a restart, I think I would have rather put him on the inside, and you know, then I don't think he could have got to the outside of me. So it doesn't matter. You'll go through that I'll go through that a million times. I've given away a lot more races than I've won. So you know, whether it's restarts or whether it's, I mean, I've missed shifts here before. So you know, I'm happy that we were in position. I'm bummed that, you know, it didn't work out the way it did. I'll try to do it better the next time, and hopefully it works out.
Let's now hear also from our third-place finisher in today's race, and that's Kurt Busch. He drove the number 78 Furniture Row Denver Mattress Chevrolet to a fine showing here today. And Kurt, congratulations on a good performance. Kurt's 13th place, but he's only 11 points out of that top 10 position. So it gets very interesting now with 5 to go before we set the chase field. Kurt, congratulations.
Thanks, Kerry. It was definitely a run that we were able to close the chapter, so to speak, on having little problems here or little problems there. And what I mean by that is we executed really well today with pit strategy, the pit stops, 2 tires, 4 tires, and to be in position at the end. We even, when the 48 had their trouble and hit the fence and threw debris out on the track, we were even able to get into the pits before they closed them and get some tires on the car. And so that's just Todd Berry, our heads-up call. The way that we made changes to the car, it just seems like the team is flowing really well. And I'm excited for this portion of the season because we now get to go back to all these tracks a second time, and we have fresh notes of working together on this Furniture Row Chevy team. And what I'm happy about is that this group of guys, we're small, but we can shoot from the hip a lot and make up a lot of ground by being aggressive with going back to a track a second time, knowing exactly what we did wrong the first time around. So even though we didn't win, I feel good about this third-place finish. And even though we didn't gain points, this was a championship effort type day.
Questions now for Jeff or Kurt. Raise your hand if you have one, please. Bob, right here.
Bob Hocker, Scoring News. Jeff, Casey was told something on his radio before that last restart or next to last restart that that him and you had different second gears. What's the reason for that?
Because I wanted the one that I had, and he wanted the one that he had. I mean, NASCAR's given us the flexibility to play around with second and third gear. We shift here, and that's probably why. And so, we felt like we were getting beat on the restarts the last time we were here. So we, as a company, we adjusted that, and they went a little further than we did. I think it helped me, but when you get that good start, you gotta make the most of it. And that's where I feel like I let the ball drop there. But yeah, we did have a little bit different, and we knew that going in. And I mean, he was having pretty decent restarts, all day long.
Go ahead, Chuck, to the
They're
far.
very, very minor. I mean, we're talking little, tiny bits of difference.
Far right here, Chuck.
Kurt, how critical was that last pit stop? And you did fight back from that, but did that play out in the end result or whatever?
Yeah, I felt like our last pit stop wasn't, it wasn't great, and maybe it was a little less than average. And so it put us behind the 24 and the 39. And I was trying to hustle as much as I could on those fresh tires to get in front of those guys, and it didn't materialize. And so when you're pushing hard early and then you get stuck behind guys, it just adds to some of the ill handling of the car. And so, yeah, I mean, this is a game where you have to be perfect. And, getting on and off pit road is my duty, and the time that we spend in the box is the pit crews. And we win as a team, and we finish third as a team.
So you did your part.
I think.
Far left, Ryan McGee, go ahead.
Ryan McGee is fan, and this is for Jeff and Kurt, for you guys. We talked on Friday about the inconsistency with all the guys that are in this fight to get into the chase. At this point, it's not a win, but just putting together a couple of good finishes in a row, doing that for a few weeks, do you think that's going to be enough to make up the difference? Because everybody just can't seem to get it together for more than a couple weeks in a row.
Well, for us, I mean, I feel like we've pulled together some decent finishes, but it hasn't been pretty. Today was an impressive, run for us internally. Just well executed, like Kurt was saying, good stops. Everything just kind of went our way, and it's too competitive. The cars are too tight, in how they're built, how they perform, and everybody's too good on pit road, and the drivers, the crew chiefs, and so you got to execute well. And I feel like we've been fortunate to get some of the top 10s that we've gotten here recently. And today, I feel like we finally actually went out and earned that one.
You know, and to follow up, I feel like we've been fast every week when we unload in practice, and we qualify well, and we start the race decent, and we're just not closing the door. And today was one of those finishes where we closed the door, and it just gets me so excited to know that an area that we're weak in, we need to polish up on it and fix it. And the only way that we're going to make the chase is to fix that weak area. And the way that you run consistent, even though like Jeff finished second today and Biffle finished top 10, you know, Truex I think was struggling today, came back, finished 15th. This is a competitive group. You know, the top seven guys I would say are locked in. Kane probably moved himself into a pretty good spot with 2 wins now. But there's still a lot of seesaw going on with guys like Biffle with 1 win, Stewart with a win, Truex with 1 win, and then me and Jeff are winless, but here we are finishing second and third, so it's tight.
Go ahead, young lady.
Candace Smith, drafting the circuits. Gentlemen, for both of you, first of all, your top 5 this race is all Chevrolet. So I want to talk about your confidence in that manufacturer, but also with Watkins Glen coming up. You talk about a lot of these tracks you'll come back to for a second race, but Watkins Glen is a one-off. It's the second road course, but it is, you know, just this one race coming up. You're both excellent road course races. Obviously, Jeff, you've got several wins. Kurt, not at the Glen, but you have a win. You're a strong road course racer. How much effort are you putting into that race? I know they're all important, but the notebook is looking for those second visits to the other tracks. But talk to me about Watkins Glen.
Yeah, I mean, you approach Watkins Glen like every track. You know, it's a track that you have to go perform well at. I think the competition has gotten so much stronger at the road courses than it used to be. So, you know, where I used to go to the road courses feeling confident that we were going to gain points and have a shot at winning, these days, yeah, you know, I got to fight hard to get a top 10. But I feel good about our road course program this year. We finished good at Sonoma. Felt like we learned a lot at the end of the second half of the race at Watkins Glen last year. We kind of more did a test more for Watkins Glen than we did for Sonoma prior to Sonoma. So I'm hoping that pays off. But I'm looking forward to the Glen. You know, this stretch of races that are coming up, I think it's one of the reasons we made the chase last year. They're just good tracks for us. And if we can start to put the execution together with the performance, I feel like we have a shot at staying in the top 10. You always want those wins, as Kurt was alluding to, because you don't want to see yourself just squeak outside the top 10 and then not have the win. So, you know, we're going to be on the closer we get to Richmond, the more aggressive we get. But I also think, you know, consistent top 5s would do it. That would, I think, get us in. But that's a lot to ask for. But I think the Glen is a race that we can perform well at.
Yeah, for us, we actually went and used one of our NASCAR tests at Watkins Glen, and I'm glad we did. I feel like there's tracks that I'm good on, and then I feel like there's tracks that I struggle on. And when we went there, we opened up Pandora's box with some braking things, braking issues, brakes, and so we were able to master that by the end. And I feel very confident now heading back there, not to just have speed in qualifying, but to have speed throughout the race. So it's an important race. I mean, Sonoma is on the calendar in June, and the middle of August is much more important.
Go ahead, front row, Scott.
Scott Walsh from the Scranton Times-Tribune. Kurt, I saw you guys looking at the replay. Can you talk about the last restart? Because it seemed like maybe Casey got a little bit of a slower start, or Jeff got a really good one, and maybe you kind of gave Casey a little bit of a push there.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I was waiting to get out of here before Jeff saw that. The way it all turned out is Jeff just caught Kane sleeping, and I've seen Kane struggle a little bit on some restarts, and when he did, he slipped the tires at least twice, and then when he shifted to third gear, it was all wrong again, and I hesitated. I mean, my front bumper hit his rear bumper, and the only option I had at that point was to push, and I could have went 4 wide or 5 wide. I mean, the 88 got to my inside. And at that moment, I was just hoping for the best. And then who knew Kane was going to squeak out and get alongside the 24 and beat him down into turn 2. So I mean, the only option I had was to push him at that point, and you know, it's just the way that things fall. It wasn't premeditated, it wasn't planned. Gordon went from winning to finishing second, and Kane went from finishing second up to winning, and my car might have had something to do with the draft on the outside lane.
Go ahead, back over here to Bob.
Bob Parker, Sporting News. Kurt, if the fan vision is right, you're up to 13th, 11 points out of 10th. If you top 5 the rest of the way or top 10 the rest of the way, do you feel like you'll make the chase?
We just need to have nice, smooth races and execute just like today. You know, what's amazing is we
A Ford or Toyota, so I don't know.
hang on, let me answer that. I've driven them all.
Yeah, go for it.
No, go ahead.
I mean, not driving those, I don't know. I know we're making great power at Hendrick, so I'm very happy with my horsepower. You know, I think that our cars, you know, are really good right now as well. You know, Chevy certainly contributes to that in their research and development and how they work with the teams. But, you know, I know 3 of those top 5 were Hendrick cars. So, you know, I think the Hendrick car, and I know Jimmy had an issue. I think he would have finished in the top 5 too. So Hendrick cars last week and this week were pretty strong. But, you know, honestly, I give Kurt a lot of credit because those guys ran so well earlier in the year at some of these bigger tracks, doing some things that our spies out there, you know, capture. And we had to go to work because, you know, we were getting beat by some things that we weren't trying and doing, and we went to work, and I think we've made some gains.
You know, and when I saw the group of Hendrick cars up front, it's that sheer torque that they have on corner exit. I had the chance to drive the Phoenix Racing Chevy, and you know, it might not have had 100% effort. And what I mean by that is they didn't go to the chassis dyno a lot, so some of the power might have been lost in the drivetrain. But to experience the low-end torque, it shows up here every time you have a corner exit, turns 1, 2, and 3. And the Hendrick power just has great power on the low end. I think where I am with the ECR engine and Childress's group, they have great top end. And that shows when we unload and the track is fast and we keep the RPMs up. And so there's just a little difference, and that's just a little difference in Chevys versus the Fords. And, you know, the Toyotas, the first time here, were detuned a little bit. So we were able to take advantage of that the first time. But overall, the Hendrick guys last week, I mean, there was, what, 4 out of the top 5? It's a combination that when they start rolling, it's a tough steamroller to slow down.
Go ahead, sir.
Jeff, when you took the lead from Casey coming off the restart, that was great racing. How hard is it, how fun is it to go 2 wide all the way around this track?
It's not something I recommend, but it was necessary at the time. Be honest, you know, I got a good restart on him on the inside, and I was able to pull in there and get even with him into 1. But then I tried to roll around the bottom to get a good shot off, and he slipped. And I was pretty surprised I was able to actually get to his left rear. And by catching him where I did, sort of like he did with me, it just stalled him out, and I had a good run going into the tunnel. I was pretty aggressive through there to hold the position because I thought if I could get underneath them or stay underneath them going into 3, seemed like the inside was the preferred line. The outside was pretty slick. And that was the case. He kind of had to give it up to me when we got to 3. So, you know, I was driving as hard as I know how to drive once I got in front of him and when I was up beside him. But at the same time, he's your teammate. He's a good friend of mine. And, you know, last thing I wanted to do was wreck either one of us as well. But he was fighting hard. I was fighting hard. And it was fun. You know, when it all ends up like that and you're the leader, it's a lot of fun. I didn't want to see that last caution, that's for sure. He was better than me. He was going to catch me. Whether he could have passed me, I'm not sure.
Okay, Jeff, Kurt, congratulations on
Thank
a
you.
strong performance
Thank
today, and we'll see you at Watkins Glen.
John, man, happy birthday.
You too, man.